You are about to embark on a journey that could change the course of your life. Here, you will discover the secrets that the chosen ones need to know in order to carry out their mission. But before that, you need to understand that the choice is yours. The mission you're about to undertake is not easy. It is full of obstacles and challenges. There are forces working against you, forces that want you to fail. But you will not fail because you have something that others do not have. Your mission is unique, it is special, and only you can accomplish it. But to do so, you need to reject the temptations that will come your way, the temptations that could divert you from your goal. Are you prepared to face these temptations? Are you prepared to reject them and move forward? If the answer is yes, then you're ready to discover the 7 temptations that every chosen one must reject. Now, it is time to discover what lies ahead. Learn to resist temptations and accomplish your mission. Temptations are lurking, waiting to catch you in a moment of weakness. But you will not give in. You will reject them and move forward. You will discover how the chosen ones overcame temptations and accomplished their mission. You will learn how to identify temptations and how to resist them. You will discover how to overcome challenges and move forward. You will learn how to reject temptations and accomplish your mission. Are you ready to begin? Temptations are real, they are dangerous, and they are deadly. They can destroy your mission and purpose, but you will not allow that to happen. You will reject the temptations and move forward. You will fulfill your mission and change the course of your life. You will discover how the chosen ones overcame temptations and accomplished their mission. You will learn how to resist temptations and how to accomplish your mission. Temptations are waiting for you. They are lurking, waiting to catch you in a moment of weakness. But you will not give in. You will reject them and move forward. You will discover how to reject temptations and accomplish your mission. You will learn how to overcome challenges and move forward. You will discover how to change the course of your life. Your journey is about to begin. Are you ready to discover the 7 temptations that every chosen one must reject and how to resist them? Keep watching and find out how to accomplish your mission. 1. The vanity that corrodes the heart. Vanity is a silent poison that infiltrates the hearts of the chosen ones, causing them to be consumed by their own image and reputation. It presents itself in a subtle way, starting with small compliments and caresses, which gradually transform into a constant need for approval and recognition. Vanity is a traitor who disguises himself as a friend, making the chosen ones blind to his true nature. It makes them focus on themselves instead of the mission they have been given. Vanity is a subtle enemy, capable of destroying all the good that the chosen ones may have achieved. You need to be careful not to let yourself be carried away by your deceptive attraction. It can manifest itself imperceptibly, starting with small habits and actions that seem harmless. The chosen one may begin to worry about his public image, about what others think of him, and forget that true approval comes from God. Vanity is a path that leads to self-sufficiency, making the chosen ones increasingly proud and independent. We must be aware that vanity is always lurking, ready to attack and destroy the work of God. Vanity is an enemy that must be faced and defeated. The chosen ones must be willing to surrender themselves completely to God, not to their own ego. Vanity can disguise itself as humility, causing the chosen ones to be deceived by their own hypocrisy. It can lead to comparison with others, competition, and envy. We must be careful not to be carried away by vanity, which can destroy unity and communion among the chosen ones. Vanity is an enemy that needs to be recognized and confronted. We must remember that true greatness comes from God and not from our own ability or talent. Vanity is a weight that needs to be cast aside so that the chosen ones can focus on the mission they have been given. Vanity can hide behind a mask of goodness, making the chosen ones pleasing in the eyes of men, but not in the eyes of God. You need to be aware that vanity is a trickster that can lead to loss of identity and purpose. Vanity is an enemy that needs to be defeated so that the chosen ones can focus on serving God and not themselves. Vanity is a distractor that must be eliminated so that the elect can reach the fullness of life in Christ. Vanity is a fire that consumes everything in its path, leaving only ashes and destruction. It can cause the elect to lose perspective and vision, causing them to focus on passing things rather than the eternal. We must be careful not to be carried away by vanity, which can destroy the work of God and the lives of the chosen ones. Vanity is an enemy that needs to be faced and defeated, so that the chosen ones can achieve victory and fulfill the mission they were given. 2. The bitterness that poisons relationships. Bitterness is a silent poison that seeps into the deepest, most loving relationships. It begins as a feeling of frustration and disappointment, but quickly turns into anger and resentment. Bitterness is a contagious emotion that can quickly destroy trust and intimacy. It can make people harsh and critical of each other. Bitterness can create an invisible barrier between individuals, making effective communication and problem-solving impossible. Unforgiveness and an inability to deal with past mistakes are the main causes of bitterness. Bitterness may masquerade as righteousness or morality, but its true nature is destructive and divisive. It can turn a healthy relationship into a pitched battle where those involved feel compelled to conquer and win. Bitterness can cause people to isolate themselves and distance themselves from one another. A lack of empathy and compassion is one of the main characteristics of bitterness. It can turn a loving relationship into a cold war. Bitterness can cause people to become slaves to the past, not allowing them to grow and change. Bitterness is a warning sign that something is wrong within us. It is a sign that we need to deal with our own issues and emotions. It can be an opportunity for growth and change, but if left untreated, it can turn into a chronic illness. Bitterness can lead people to feel like victims and blame others for their suffering. A lack of accountability and an inability to look at oneself in the mirror are serious symptoms of bitterness. It is important to realize that bitterness is a dead-end road. Bitterness may be hidden in our hearts and minds, but its effects are visible in our relationships. It can cause people to become critical and distrustful. Bitterness can cause people to be controlling and domineering. It can lead people to feel worthless and insignificant. Bitterness can create a feeling of hopelessness and pessimism. A lack of hope and faith can be a serious symptom of bitterness. It's important to remember that bitterness is a choice and that we can choose to forgive and change. Bitterness is an obstacle that prevents people from experiencing true happiness and peace. It can leave people feeling trapped in the past and unable to live in the present. Bitterness can turn people into slaves to their emotions. It can lead people to become bitter and gray. It is important to remember that bitterness is not a solution, but a problem. It is necessary to forgive and learn to deal with emotions in order to overcome bitterness. Lack of forgiveness can lead people to feel trapped in an emotional prison. 3. The cowardice that destroys trust. Cowardice is like a silent poison that infiltrates the veins of the chosen one, corroding confidence in himself and others. It is the voice that whispers in the ear of fear that makes us question our abilities and our capacity to overcome challenges. Cowardice is an insidious enemy that makes us hesitate in the face of adversity and prevents us from acting with courage and determination. It is the reason why many chosen ones fail in their missions, because they do not have the courage to face the obstacles that present themselves. Cowardice is a choice, not an innate characteristic, and it must be recognized and fought against daily. By allowing cowardice to dominate us, we are condemning our missions to failure and our confidence to ruin. Cowardice disguises itself as caution, prudence, and realism, but in reality, it is just a way of avoiding the unknown and challenges. It makes us avoid confrontation, seek easy shortcuts, and hide behind excuses. Cowardice is the reason why many chosen ones choose not to act, not to expose themselves, not to take risks. But the truth is that without risks, there is no growth, no change, no victory. Cowardice is a weight that keeps us paralyzed, preventing us from reaching our full potential. It is the enemy of confidence, growth, and victory. We must banish it from our lives so that we can achieve our goals. Cowardice also disguises itself as humility, modesty, and humility, but it is just a way of hiding behind a mask of false modesty. It makes us describe ourselves. It makes us judge ourselves as unworthy. It makes us consider ourselves incapable. Cowardice is the reason why many chosen ones are content to be average, to not stand out, to not take risks. But the truth is that mediocrity is just a way of hiding behind the crowd, of not standing out, of not taking risks. You have to have the courage to stand out, to take risks, to assert yourself. You have to have the courage to be the best. Confidence is like a golden thread that connects us to our purpose, that connects us to our abilities, that connects us to our convictions. And cowardice is like a wire cutter that severs that connection, leaving us without direction, without purpose, and without confidence. We need to rebuild this connection. We need to regain trust. We need to learn to have courage. Cowardice is an obstacle to be overcome, not an innate characteristic. We need to fight it daily. We need to banish it from our lives. We need to have the courage to be the chosen one, to move forward, to not give up. Cowardice is like a dark cloud that obscures our vision of the future, that prevents us from seeing opportunities, that prevents us from seeing possibilities. It makes us lose sight of what we can achieve. It makes us lose confidence in our abilities. We need to banish this dark cloud. We need to have the courage to look to the future with confidence. We need to have the courage to believe in ourselves. Cowardice is an obstacle to be overcome, not an innate characteristic. We must learn to have courage. We must learn to have confidence. We must banish cowardice from our lives so that we can achieve our goals. 4. Ambition that deviates from purpose. Ambition is a powerful springboard that launches the chosen ones to great heights. But it can also be a deadly trap that distracts them from their true purpose. Often, the need to achieve success quickly causes the chosen ones to be seduced by easier paths that do not lead to their desired destination. They start competing with themselves or with others, instead of focusing on the mission they have been given. Ambition can become a destructive force that devours reason and wisdom. We must be careful that the desire to achieve success does not become an idolatry that prevents us from listening to the voice of our hearts. After all, the purpose is to achieve fulfillment, not just success. Ambition can also manifest itself in subtle ways, as a desire for recognition or approval from others. Chosen ones may feel compelled to impress others, forgetting that true approval comes from within. They begin to adapt to others' expectations instead of focusing on what is truly important. In this case, ambition becomes a heavy burden that prevents them from moving towards their purpose. It is important to remember that the true purpose is not to be loved or respected by others, but to fulfill the mission entrusted to us. The ambition that diverts us from our purpose is a subtle but deadly enemy. The chosen ones must always remember that ambition is a tool, not the goal. It should be used to drive the achievement of the purpose, not to override it. Care must be taken so that the desire to achieve success does not become an obsession that causes us to lose our way. After all, the purpose is to achieve fulfillment, not just success. It is important to remember that fulfillment is not a goal, but rather a path that we must walk with integrity and sincerity. Ambition can also manifest itself in more subtle ways, as a desire for self-protection or self-preservation. Chosen ones may feel compelled to preserve their status quo, rather than taking risks and moving forward. They start to stick to the things they know, rather than venturing into unknown territory. In this case, ambition becomes a trap that prevents us from growing and evolving. It is important to remember that the purpose is to achieve fulfillment, not just maintain the status quo. Ambition that diverts from purpose is a constant temptation for the chosen ones. It can manifest itself in different ways, from the desire for success to the fear of failure. The chosen ones must always be alert not to let themselves be carried away by this ambition, but rather to stay focused on the true purpose. It is important to remember that the purpose is to achieve fulfillment, not just success. After all, Fulfillment is what will give us true satisfaction and joy. 5. Doubt that minimizes faith. Doubt is one of the greatest enemies of faith, a poison that can spread quickly and infect the soul of the chosen one. It is the seed of disbelief, which sprouts in fertile soil and begins to grow silently, eroding trust in God. It appears disguised as reason, logic, and legitimate questioning, but its results are always the same: insecurity, fear, and weakness. Doubt may begin as a simple question, but it quickly grows into a vulture of uncertainty that distances us from God. It is a dangerous path, one that can lead us to doubt our own identity and purpose. Doubt is a state of mind that causes us to question God's authority, goodness, and justice. When we allow doubt to set in, we begin to doubt our own experiences with God, those moments when we have felt His presence and love. Doubt is a subtle enemy that makes us forget God's promises and leads us to doubt our own perceptions. It is a state of mind that causes us to question whether God really cares about our lives and is truly committed to our well-being. Doubt is a poison that can cause us to lose trust in God and His plan for our lives. When doubt arises, our minds begin to rationalize, to seek logical explanations for things we do not understand. It is a normal process, but a dangerous one, because it can lead us to doubt God's word and its authority. Doubt can lead us to question whether God is really able to do what He has promised, whether He is truly omnipotent and omniscient. Doubt is a dangerous path, which can lead us to lose trust in God and His word. Doubt can arise in times of crisis, when we face challenges and obstacles that we don't know how to overcome. It is a time when our faith is put to the test, and when we must choose between trusting in God or in our own strength. Doubt can lead us to question whether God really cares about us, whether He is truly concerned about our problems. It is a state of mind that leads us to question whether God is able to help us in our times of need. Doubt is a choice, a path we choose to follow. When we choose to doubt, we are choosing not to trust God. We are choosing not to believe in His word and His promises. It is a choice that can have serious consequences, as it can lead us to lose trust in God and His plan for our lives. It is a dangerous path, which can lead us away from God and His presence in our lives. 6. Fear that paralyzes action. Fear is a feeling that is present in all chosen ones when they approach the time to carry out their mission. It is a feeling that can paralyze them and make them question their ability to accomplish what has been asked of them. Fear could be a little voice in your mind that makes you doubt yourself, making you feel small and insignificant in the face of challenge. It is fear that makes the chosen ones slow to make decisions, because they fear making mistakes and failing. Fear prevents them from taking action and decisive action, making them hostages to their own doubts and uncertainties. This fear can manifest itself in many ways, whether through negative thoughts, bad dreams, or unpleasant physical sensations. It can make the chosen ones slow to respond to challenges, causing them to miss important opportunities and moments. Fear can make the chosen ones lazy and reckless, causing them to be overcome by a feeling of defeat before they even begin. It is fear that causes the chosen ones to lose confidence in themselves, making them more likely to give in to discouragement and despair. Fear is a giant obstacle that must be overcome in order for the chosen ones to accomplish their mission. It needs to be overcome and conquered so that the chosen ones can find the courage and boldness necessary to act. Fear can be masked in different ways, but its essence is always the same: to paralyze action. It can disguise itself as rationality, making the chosen ones think they are being prudent and wise, when in fact they're just shying away from the challenge. Fear can present itself as a sense of responsibility, making the chosen ones think they are being careful, when in fact they're just shying away from the opportunity. Those chosen must be honest with themselves and recognize the fear that is preventing them from taking action. They must face it head-on and overcome it so that they can accomplish their mission. Fear cannot be allowed to rule the situation, as it is only a feeling that can be controlled. 7. Self-righteousness that defies authority. Self-righteousness is a dangerous path that can lead the chosen one to challenge established authority, putting the entire mission at risk. When someone believes they have the right to take the law into their own hands, they're placing themselves above the system and the rules that govern it, which can lead to catastrophic consequences. Self-righteousness is a form of disguised selfishness that makes us believe that we are doing the right thing simply because we are convinced of our own beliefs. However, this is not an excuse for not respecting authority and the laws that exist to protect everyone. Self-righteousness is a poison that can spread quickly, contaminating the entire system and leading to anarchy and chaos. One must be careful not to fall into this trap, as the result can be disastrous. Self-righteousness can take many forms, from a small act of disobedience to an armed revolt. But the danger lies in how quickly it can escalate, putting innocent lives at risk and destroying social order. When someone believes they have the right to take justice into their own hands, they are becoming both judge and executioner without knowing all the variables involved. This can lead to fatal errors and a total loss of control. Self-righteousness is a double-edged sword that may seem fair at first, but can backfire on the bearer. It takes wisdom and discernment to avoid falling into this trap. Self-righteousness is not a solution, but a problem that can create more problems. When we believe we have the right to take justice into our own hands, we are saying that we know better than the authorities and the established laws. This is a sign of presumption and pride, which can lead to a spectacular downfall. Self-righteousness is not a form of justice, but a form of selfishness and authoritarianism. It may seem fair at first, but in the end, it always ends in disaster. We need to be humble and recognize that we do not know everything, and that we need authority and laws to maintain social order. Self-righteousness is a deviation from the right path, which can lead to a loss of focus and direction. Self-righteousness can present itself in a cunning way, disguising itself as justice and morality. However, one must be careful not to be fooled. When someone believes they have the right to take justice into their own hands, they're placing themselves above the law and authority, which can lead to a loss of respect for the social order. Self-righteousness is not a way to solve problems, but to create new ones. It takes wisdom and discernment to avoid falling into this trap and to follow the right path. Self-righteousness is a form of disobedience, which can lead to disastrous consequences. It is important to remember that authority and laws exist to protect everyone, not to suppress anyone. Self-righteousness is a form of disrespect for these laws and authority, which can lead to a loss of stability and security. When someone believes they have the right to take justice into their own hands, they're placing themselves above the system, which can lead to catastrophic consequences. We must be careful not to fall into this trap and to follow the path of obedience and respect for authority. Self-righteousness is not a solution, but a problem that can generate more problems. You must remember that you are the chosen one and that you have a mission to accomplish. Cowardice is just a temptation that must be rejected. You have the power to choose your path and create your own destiny. In the midst of a journey full of challenges, it is essential that those chosen are able to discern between what is right and wrong. Because temptations often appear disguised as opportunities, promising ease and quick gains. However, these seemingly easy choices can become dangerous traps, putting the mission and greater purpose at risk. Therefore, it is essential to keep a clear mind and a pure heart, so that decisions are made with wisdom and faith. Victory is not achieved by brute force, but by the strength of faith and perseverance. One must always be vigilant, so as not to fall into the enemy's traps. Therefore, it is time to surrender to temptations and choose the path of righteousness. It's time to remember that the mission is greater than personal ambitions, and that purpose is more important than selfish interests. It's time to commit to faith and truth, even if it means going against the grain. After all, the chosen ones have been called to a greater work, and they must be willing to sacrifice their self to achieve their goal. Are you willing to reject the 7 temptations and fulfill your mission? Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to receive more inspiring and motivating content.